So what I've done here is I've opened up the drawing file that's saved for you on Educat so you can kind of see what the part looks like. Before we start into this, I'm going to take a little look at the part, kind of make a plan. I'm going to jog back and forth between this document and one that's already finished so you can kind of get a preview of it. You can tell it's going to be an auxiliary part because we can't quite see this cylindrical face. Picture it in the top view would look like an ellipse. It would also look like an ellipse in the right side view. Kind of what this drawing is asking for is for us to do an auxiliary view showing the cylinder face on. And then for clarity, we are going to need to do an auxiliary section cutting right through this cross right here and projecting it over to this area so we can see this shape. I do have a PDF document up on the screen in Educat so that you can download that. It will show you what the drawing's going to look like without dimensions. When we go to build this today, we're going to start right here. And we're actually going to put our origin right here in the corner. And then we're going to create some planes and create the cross section, and then we're going to create the cylinder. I'm going to jump to the other document here and kind of show you what it looks like when it's completed. I've got the planes turned on. If I were to scroll back, you can kind of see there's our L shape. There's our planes. This is actually a duplicate, so I'm just going to hide it. Here's our cross. And the cross is really tricky because it has to be located so that the midpoint of the cross is centered on that line. That's where our origin is. You can kind of see that right here. If I do view, hide show, and I check origin, you can kind of see right where it's at. But we'll walk through that together, and then it's extruding the cylinder, and then it's a fillets, which have to be applied in a very specific order. And then I did the whole patterns and whatnot last. So we're going to walk through that together. I'm going to slide this over here. What we're going to do is we're going to draw this, these two lines right here. So it's 2 3/8 minus 3/8. So that's this one. Be 2 inches long. And this one is 1 1/4 minus 3/8. So that'll be 0.88. So we're going to get started on the front plane. We're going to start a sketch. I'm going to go straight vertical. We'll go straight back. This is 2. And this is 0.88. Now we're going to do something different. Notice this isn't a closed-in contour. We're going to do a features, extrude boss base. I'm going to zoom this up here so you can see it. This is a thin feature. And you can notice this is checked right here. What we're going to do is we're going to flip the direction. So it's extruding out this way, and we're going to set our thickness. This is that 375 3/8. That is the thickness of the material. And we want it to stay to the out here, not be flipped to the inside. So leave it out there like that so that your origin's in that corner. And then we come to the top part of the extrude, and this is where we say we want a mid-plane, and we're going to go 2.375. So you can see we just drew 2 lines, but that's where our part's going to come from, is a thickness extrude and then a left to right extrude. So hit our check mark. Now, anytime we have auxiliary views, that means we're probably going to have to create planes. And so let's go to features, reference geometry, and plane. The plane that we're going to create is actually this one. It's going to run across there like that. It'll be perpendicular to the center line, and we're going to have it occur right here at the origin. So in order to do that, I'm going to pick this face. And then for the second reference, I'm going to pick this edge. So you can see what it did is it made it perpendicular, coincident to that edge, but I'm going to change it to an angle. And I'm going to try 30. So you can kind of see there's 30 degrees. tips it forward, we're going to hit the check mark. And there is our plane, and I'm going to go normal to the front view so you can kind of see we put that plane in there. Now that's right here in the corner, and what we're going to do is we're going to offset it out to be the center of that cylinder. We're going to come from this plane right here, offset it out to 1 3/4. Okay, so we're going to go right back to reference geometry plane. I had that face selected, so it put it there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this first reference that plane, and I'm going to give it a distance of 1.75, and I'm going to flip the offset so it goes that way. So now if you look at that, I've got a plane right here in the corner that's heading perpendicular to our center line, and I just made another one that's going to occur down the middle of that. The reason we did that is we need this cross to be drawn out here on this plane. So the cross comes out and is tangent to that cylinder. So that means the cross ends right down the middle of that cylinder. And so that's what we're going to do is we're going to draw the cross out here on plane 2, and we're going to extrude it backwards up until it hits our L-shaped base. A lot of students want to draw it on plane 1 and extrude it out here towards plane 2, but you don't get this little tail then. It's left undone, and so we're gonna be smart about it, and we're going to start out here. So I'm going to start my sketch on plane 2, and I'm going to go normal 2, which is very confusing because if you look at it, you're looking at the part, I'm using shift and my arrow keys, you're looking at the part kind of backwards. But I'm going to leave it there, and I'll tell you why. The cross doesn't care if it's up or down. It doesn't care if it's upside down, it's the same. But really what we want to see is our origin. We want to see that in that crease right there. You see that? So kind of make sure that you're oriented the same way I am. I'm going to go back to plane 2. I'm going to hit normal 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a sketch. And I'm going to draw a rough cross. I'm going to go up and over. I'm watching to make sure I'm horizontal and vertical. I'm really not watching much else. I'm just drawing a loose cross. Now that last leg isn't vertical, so I'm going to just check vertical so it stays that way. You also want to make sure none of the corners are black. We want everything to be blue at this stage of the game. If it did turn black or a corner is, that means you probably got an accidental relation to something else. And so you kind of want to be careful of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set some relations to make sure that I have a cross. This line and this line should be collinear, as should these two. This line and this line are collinear. This line and this line are collinear. That means they share the same line space. That's how we know we have a cross. And so now you can kind of see as we move one, the other one moves. Same thing on this side, and same thing on the horizontal members of the cross. If we want it to really be a cross, that would mean that this one and this one and this one and this one are equal. And then we're going to do another relationship saying that these four are equal. So now as I pull one side, it changes. If I pull this side, the other side changes. You'll notice nothing has turned black yet. We really aren't located anywhere. And so what I do is I would do a center line. There's lots of ways you could do this. We just want to make sure that the exact center of our cross is centered on here. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and draw a construction line from midpoint to midpoint. I'm going to add a relationship, putting that construction line and our origin at midpoint. And so now, and watch as I adjust this, we never leave the center of our origin, which is great. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and put some sizes on here. In order to get the sizes, I'm going to jump back over to this drawing. You'll notice from the middle of the cross to the top is 3/4, but the width of it from left to right is not 1.5. It is equal to the diameter of this cylinder. So we have to find the diameter of the cylinder so we know how wide to make the cross. That's why it's tangent. So there it is right there, diameter of 1.25. I'm going to go ahead and measure from here to here, 1.25. Overall height of the object is 1.5. So we've got our height located, and we've got our width located, and now what we need to do is get a thickness on this, on each member of the cross. If you look right here, it's 5/16 at the bottom, and right here it tells us it's 5/16 on the side. So we need to go back in and do that. Smart dimension from here to here. This is important. 5 divided by 16, 0.3125. It's okay that it rounds it up to 0.313. If you were to double click it, it says 0.3125. We'll explain why that's important later. I'm going to go ahead and put another smart dimension on this, 0.3125, or again you could type in the 5/16. So now we have a fully defined cross. If you look at it, it's way out here. I'm going to go ahead and do a features, extrude boss base, and I'm going to tell it to go back towards our original part and say up to next. That's important, up to next. So here's what you want to look for to make sure that yours is right. A couple things. Make sure your origin is right here in this corner, right there. And then as you look at your cross, make sure that it barely goes over that right there where the horizontal member comes through. And just in general, I'm going to make it go to the front view for a minute. Just kind of make sure that it looks about like that where it hits. Okay, I'm going to hit the check mark. We've got our cross on there now, and I'm going to pause the video for a second. Alright, so the next phase of this is for us to put the cylinder in. In order to do that, we would like a plane out here to draw on. Okay, now kind of picture this center line right here that's tipped at 30 degrees. That's going to be our next plane. Okay, and we're going to draw a circle on that, and we're going to mid-plane extrude it. After that, you guys are kind of on your own on the part. I'm going to expect you to be able to put your fillets in, and then put the hole pattern in. I will probably end up showing you a little bit of the drawing portion, but that'll be a separate video. So let's go ahead and put this plane in. In order to do this, I'm going to go back to reference geometry, which is under features, reference geometry, plane. I need a plane that's perpendicular to plane 2. And where do I want that plane to be? I could even use the origin, I guess. I was going to use this edge. Okay, so now I have a perpendicular plane to plane 2. That's what this says. Hit the check mark, and I'm just going to grab that plane and extend it out. So now you can kind of see there's our planes, plane 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to go to plane 3, and I'm going to start my sketch. And hit normal 2. And I'm going to, right here, start a circle. I'm going to go ahead and close my email. And I'm going to add a relationship from this circle to that edge and make it tangent. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. The edge of the cross and the circle are tangent. And it's locked into that location right there, and so now I'm ready to do a feature, extrude boss base, and I'm going to go mid-plane so that I'm going in two directions at once, like that. I don't know how long it is until I go back and look at the part, so I'm going to come up here, 1 3/4, so 1.75. That looks about right. We're sticking up above the top of there. Some things I'll make evident to you right now as far as fillets go. These holes are located concentric to these fillets, so I would put those in before I would do this hole. Otherwise you can't locate this pattern until you have that, so do your 1/2 inch radiuses first. Most of these fillets and rounds are 1/8. The exception to that is the cross itself. You'll notice they're 5/16. They're a full half round. That's why there's a center mark in there. And so that means when we come back over here to do this, this area and this area and the other two, this one and this one, all are a full half round with a 5/16 radius. So the way we do that is we go to fillet. Oops, I need to clear that. We actually sent the radius to 5/32, half of 5/16. And we would fillet this and that. And now you can kind of see it's a half round. 5/32 and 5/32 is 5/16. So notice we're doing that all the way around our part. And then we can hit our check mark. Now pretty much everything else on the part is a 1/8 fillet, and I would encourage you to put this one in next, 0.125. And now you can kind of go in and do the inside corners of here before you run the fillet all the way around. Remember, you're trying to make that smooth pattern, and so if we put one in here, that means the race car continues around the corners and that kind of thing. Again, don't forget to do this before you do the whole pattern. That's really about all of the part I'm going to help you make. I figure from there you can put these fillets in, you can cut the hole, you can do the whole pattern, and the next video will be about how to show you put it into a drawing. Alright, good luck.